All right. Hello and welcome. Hello and welcome, and thanks to everyone for being here. Thank you for joining me. My name is Otis Landerholm. I'm the founding attorney here at Landerholm Immigration A.P.C., where we fight for your American dream. And thank you and welcome for everybody here joining in on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram. Thank you all so much for joining and welcome to another episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Can you believe it? All right? Can you believe it? So come on, and thank you for being with me. Today on our episode, I want to talk about what would immigration reform require? What would it require? And I want to talk about some of the latest movement that is happening regarding politics. All right, so we'll get into it, and I want to talk about that topic. So welcome to everybody. Thank you all so much for being here. The Empowered Immigrant Live is here to train, teach, inspire, and empower immigrants to make the most out of immigration law and to make the most out of their lives. And today our theme is, what would immigration reform require? And my question for everybody listening is, do you want to get a green card this year? Do you want to at least apply to come out of the shadows this year? Is this year your year? Because if so, it's like, go for it. I want to encourage everybody to go for it. I'd love to help you with that. My firm is on a mission to win 10,000 immigration cases by 2035. I'd love for your case to be one of them. All right? And so, so as we go through our topic, if you have questions about anything that I'm going to say, hey, please send them in, right, through the chat, through the comments. Please send them in. I'll do my best to answer everybody's question. As I often do, I want to start with an empowerment tip. And my tip this morning is that in honor of the 4th of July is happening next week. It's Independence Day. And my question for you is there something that you would like to declare independence from? And by that I mean, is there something that you would like to change? Anything that's happening in your life that's not the way, not working for you, that you don't want to tolerate anymore, right? I want to encourage people to start the rebellion in their own way, in their own life. Anything you want to revolt from, right? If there's something not working in your life, you don't need to write a Declaration of Independence always. You don't need to start a war always. But you can certainly start by making a decision. And you can make an honest assessment of what's working and what isn't working, and then take action to create the life that you want. All right? And I say that, and it's easy to say. It's not always easy to do. But I promise you, the future awaits, and the future you most likely will say that it's worth it. All right? So if you've got something to change in your life, habits, something to take on that you know will make your life better, hey, this is a great weekend. This is a great time. Declare independence from whatever you need to declare independence from in your life. All right? That's really what the 4th of July is all about anyway. So, so thank you. I hope that was useful. Hope it was helpful. If it was, let me know. And if it wasn't, hey, let me know that too. All right? So now I want to switch gears. I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that are going on right now. Okay? So in Florida, all of the anti-immigrant laws that have been passed, they go into effect on Saturday of this week, all right, like on the 1st of July. And remember, that will create a crime in Florida for people who knowingly bring or transport undocumented immigrants into the state of Florida. And it also cracks down on Florida businesses if they employ undocumented workers, which, maybe practically speaking, maybe that's the biggest or the stupidest part of the law. I mean, the whole thing is stupid. I should just be clear about that. The whole thing is stupid. But that's where we see, people worried about where they're going to make their money from. Will their employer still be able to employ them after the 1st of July? And how much of a crackdown, so to speak, are employers going to experience if they, aren't on E-Verify and don't have very accurate data as to the working authorization of each of their employees. And so we'll see, right? We're going to see how that law takes effect. In my opinion, it is so ridiculous. It is so stupid. It is so based in fear. And Governor DeSantis, if you're listening to me, it so undervalues the contributions that immigrants bring to your state, right? Or to any state. It's just, it's not something to be proud of at all. Stop it, right? You're going for political gain to get your name in the papers, to try to prepare for a presidential run. You're using immigrants as scapegoats. Stop it, right? It's garbage. And the truth is that the Republican Party, I should say the Republican candidates for election next year, they're running, many of them, DeSantis is not alone, and it's not just DeSantis and Trump, many of them are running with an anti-immigrant agenda. And for me, on the one hand, it's okay, let's watch them lose elections then, right? You run on an anti-immigrant agenda in a country that's made of immigrants, and you're going to lose. And I think that, my hope was that Trump would have learned that when he lost to Biden. His policies were ridiculous. So that on the one hand, but on the other hand, it's hey, they're doing damage by proposing ridiculous laws like the law that's about to go into effect in Florida. They're doing damage to their own economy. They're doing damage to the economy of the United States. It's causing problems, people. So anyway, politics. So I wanted to share, though, because that is going on, right? And there's a lot of questions about it. It's going on. If you have questions even about the words that I'm saying, hey, please send them in, right? And, if you agree, if you disagree, hey, you can send me whatever you've got. So now I want to talk a little bit about what else is happening, right? Because some of you may have heard, it's what about the possibility of immigration reform? What about the possibility of something different? And something was introduced in the House of Representatives on May 23rd. We call it the Dignity Act. And, this is interesting, right? It's not my favorite law, not my favorite proposal. But it's interesting because it was introduced by a Republican representative. Her name is Maria Salazar from Florida, right? From Florida, right? Which I think there's something remarkable about that. There's something that catches the attention about it. And there's good parts of this bill and there's not so good parts of this bill, right? It is a Republican-sponsored bill. It focuses a lot of its language on tightening up border security, in my opinion, even at the expense of abiding by international humanitarian law. So there's good and bad, right? On the good side, for example, it creates a pathway for residency for recipients of DACA and for TPS holders. That's good. We've been wanting solutions for that, right? On the good side, it creates a pathway for many, not all, but many undocumented immigrants who have been in the U.S. for over 5 years to finally come out of the shadows, which is enormous. That's huge. All right? And it does it in ways that maybe wouldn't be my first choice, right? But at least there's something there, right? So there's good, there is good in it. And there's a lot more things that could be described as good in it, like immigrant friendly, more or less, you might describe many things. And it's a almost 500-page bill, and I could walk through it over, a 2-hour training in the future if people want that. I'd be happy to. All right? There's also some not good things about it. And some of those, yes, it focuses a lot on border security first, right? Tighten up to basically let no one cross the border under any circumstance, which, sometimes has a serious human cost. But the other thing that I think is not so good is it forces asylum seekers to be detained and to finish their whole asylum process within 60 days, which, it's kind of like good luck, right? We've got asylum cases right now that have been pending for over 6.5 years. You want to finish it in 60 days? I mean, good luck having that process be, comply with due process, give people the right to have an attorney present, give people the right to, really be heard about their case and, make sure that their case is as strong as possible with documents and evidence, right? And if you lose, you get subject to deportation. You got to make sure that that process is good. Anyway, so it's kind of like forcing a arbitrarily fast decision on asylum cases, and it forces asylum seekers to be detained in what they're calling a quote-unquote humanitarian campus, which I thought that was clever language, but in practice it's okay, these are going to be immigration detention facilities, and, humanitarian campus, in the middle of the desert in Arizona and New Mexico and Texas is what we've been seeing for the immigration detention facilities, and they are not happy places. Let's make no mistake about that. So anyway, so I wanted to kind of share that. Those are my initial takes of the good and the not so good pieces of the Dignity Act. What I do want to highlight, though, is it's bipartisan at least. Okay, so you've got, it was introduced by a Republican, and it allows for immigration reform. Okay, it's introduced by a Republican, and it's taken feedback from Democrats. That's actually the first time in a long time, really, arguably since 2013 when the Senate passed its bill. It's arguably the first time that we've seen actual bipartisan attention on the topic of immigration reform. There's something to be optimistic there about it. It's it's caught my attention. Hey, that's something worth monitoring and watching, and I'll certainly continue to do that in the upcoming months. I encourage you to tune in to our podcast over the next several months just to see how it progresses through committee, what amendments different people are going to seek to include in the bill, and whether or not it ultimately goes to a vote and then were to pass, right? And remember, to pass a federal law in this country, it is not easy, right? It is not easy. It is you have to have a proposal, a bill, that has to pass both the House of Representatives and the United States Senate, and then given to the president to either sign it or veto it. Okay? And so, getting through the House and the Senate, it's what would the chances of this passing this year be? I mean, 1% or less, right, is what I would just say out there. 1% or less. It probably won't happen, but could it happen? I mean, you can't, nothing will happen if you don't try. And we'll be watching it for sure. You know, miracles do exist. That 1%, let's, you know, we can monitor it and see about it, right? So anyway, I wanted to share that. That's kind of, those are the things that are happening right now. That's kind of my big update for today. In the meantime, hey, everybody who's listening to me, have a happy 4th of July. And stay tuned with our firm as the summer continues, and we'll have more to say about it. And now I want to open it up if there are questions. I don't think I've received any specifically at this point. I see some folks on Instagram, though. Haki Mejia, hello, great to see you there. And Angel Karin, hello, great to see you there. And Sculpted from Nothing, cool name, hello, I see you there. And Haki Mejia, I see, you're Venezuelan, cool, good to see you, awesome. And so, yeah, great to see everybody. I don't think that I've received any other questions, and so that's totally fine. But I really appreciate that everybody's here, and thank you so much for tuning in. And, you know, if this video was useful, as always, please subscribe to our channel on YouTube. And when you do, hit the notifications bell too. And you can receive additional updates, news, because, you know, there's going to be updates and news. So you want to be able to do that. And then if you have an immigration case, hey, please give us a call. We are here to help, and we would love to help. I see that there's a question here, Van Petrovich. Hello, sir. Did you hear about the Ukrainian Adjustment Act? Any chances to be passed and become law? Yes, you know, thank you for asking that. That is also, there's actually, and thank you, I did mean to say, the Dignity Act that I discussed here is just one, really, it's just one of multiple proposals that are coming together, and many of them might be joined in various ways. And so we will be monitoring each of these, right? We'll be monitoring each of these. And so regarding the Ukrainian situation and whether or not people who have gotten Ukrainian TPS might be eligible to adjust status, none of these proposals have actually passed into law at this time. Everything is just a proposal, all right? But there have been multiple proposals in the last, I would say, 60 days that we will be continuing to monitor. And it's like, you know, they have to go through the full congressional process. And I would give it like a 1% chance for any of them to actually pass before the end of this year. And we'll continue to monitor that. Okay? So I hope that was helpful. Thank you for asking that question. I appreciate that. And everyone, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And thank you for giving me a little bit of your time on this beautiful Thursday morning. And I hope you're doing well. If you have an immigration case that my office can help you with, we are here to help. We would love to help. And Makan, okay, I'm starting to get some questions here. Can I refile a PD request after the Supreme Court put back the Biden administration's deportation priorities while my motion to reopen is still filing and after getting no response from ICE? So that's an awesome question. You're raising a fantastic question. That is also news. I'm going to do a whole separate training on the case of United States versus Texas, which has gotten the U.S. Supreme Court deciding to allow our PD requests and the Mayorkas memos for prosecutorial discretion to continue. And so that's a big deal. Can you refile it? I mean, if you want to talk about that, Makan Traore, I'd love to re-talk about it. And refiling where there was a motion to reopen, things of that nature, it can be risky. It can be, right? And so you want to really talk it over either with your immigration lawyer or if you want to look at it really carefully, let's look at it carefully. And the answer is maybe, all right? You might be able to refile that request given the new decision at the U.S. Supreme Court. And thank you for bringing that up. All right, everybody. That's all I got for today. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm Otis Landerholm Immigration, A.P.C, where we fight for your American dream. We'll see you on the next episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. Have a happy 4th of July. Take care. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.